a frequently asked question all the time, and that's how to calculate your retirement number, or more popularly known, how to calculate your FIRE number, which is Financial Independence Retire Early, although I prefer the remix, Financial Independence Remain Employed. So the quick answer is, to come up with your FIRE number, you can multiply your annual expenses by 25 or divide it by 4%. I've done that right here for you. In this video, I'm going to show you a few tips, tools, and calculators you can use to get a little bit more details about your FIRE number. Let's get started. You are now tuned into the smooth sounds of TMG. I'm your host, the Marcus Garrett. For those of you who are unfamiliar, what is the FIRE movement? Again, Financial Independence Retire Early is the traditional name. I like Financial Independence Remain Employed because most of the people I know that are practicing FIRE or that have achieved FIRE actually still remain employed. They just start working in meaningful work because of the independence that they have achieved. So Financial Independence Remain Employed is the remix I like, and it's a movement dedicated to extreme savings and investment. These people believe that they're practicing the same retirement that a lot of individuals practice. They're just doing it far earlier, living on as much as 30, 40, 50, 60, or 70% of their income so they can retire early and start reaching that financial independence that is traditionally reserved for people at 65 years of age. Some of these individuals that I've spoken with have reached financial independence as early as 30, 40, 50 years of age. So imagine reclaiming 10, 20, 30 years of your life by reaching financial independence early. When I was writing for Go Banking Rates, I wrote a few articles about how to reach your FIRE number. I get this article in the video description, and how I got my expenses down to 50% of my income and the tools I use to do so. I also talked about the FIRE movement and how I found my magic number for retirement, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I'll get both of these stories in your video description, and for those of you who are still old school and like reading, you can read my 2 articles on the FIRE movement at gobankingrates.com. There are several ways to come up with your FIRE number. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to use the easiest one I've seen, and that is people multiply their annual expenses, which is here on the left-hand column, by 25, or they divide it by 4%. And for those of you who are good at math, that'll get you the exact same number. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the tools and online calculators that you can use for this. I know a lot of people, especially in the personal finance community, like to use Personal Capital. That is a great tool. It is one that I've used before. Unfortunately, it didn't connect to all of my accounts, so I like to speak to things that worked for me. So I'm going to talk about 2 free resources that are actually available from the US federal government. So I know they work, I know they're free. So you've got these numbers here. I'll give you a link below if you want to download or take a screenshot of this, and I'll show you how to come up with these numbers for your own lifestyle and financial goals. In that article that I highlighted for Go Banking Rates, I actually did the calculations for someone who wants to reach $500,000 by retirement age. Here in the right-hand column, you can see how much you would need to save each month. I did an assumption of 7% average annual return, and you can tailor that to your lifestyle's goals. In fact, the tools that I'm going to show you today, you can use a variance. So I like to use 7% returns, but you can use their variance calculator to go up to 8, 9, 10, a 3% variance, or down 6, 5, 4, 3. Whatever you may be interested, or if you're being more conservative, you can tailor this to your retirement and conservative savings goals. As you can see here, if you start at age 20, you would need to save $127 a month to reach that $500,000. Again, that's assuming a 7% return. And if you wait until age 40, that amount doesn't just double, it actually goes up to $560 because of all the compound interest that you would have lost over the years. If these ages 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 don't conveniently apply to you, let's talk about some tools that you can use to come up with your own FIRE number. 2 very free tools that I like to use are both available at Investor.gov, and they are from the US government. In fact, the US Security and Exchange Commission, SEC, you might have heard of them before. They have a compound interest calculator and a savings goal calculator. I've actually pre-filled those for the purposes of this video. As you saw, let's take somebody who's 20 years old. They save $127 in the first month. They consistently contribute that $127. If they retire at age 67, that's 47 years of investment. I use a 7% estimated interest rate, and let's do a variance of 3%. You might not be surprised by these results. Compounded annually, that's a little over 500,000. You can see here, if they get a 10% return, they can expect up to 1.2 million. And if they have a 3% variance, which is in this case would be a 4% return, that would be 200,000. So you can see that if you take a more conservative approach, I know some people like to use savings accounts, bonds, instead of investing in the stock market, then you're going to get lower returns for that more conservative, less risky approach. Nothing wrong with that. You see that that individual loses about 300,000 by taking that more conservative approach. That's fine as long as you're making an informed decision about the investment choices you want to make. Again, this is Investor.gov's compound interest calculator. I use a 7% average return. This is a 20-year-old individual. They have 47 years to invest. They would have $500,000 by retirement age. At the same resource, Investor.gov, they also have a savings goal calculator. So you can come to it the other way. Let's say you don't know how much you want to invest each month, but you know at retirement age or whatever age that you're looking to, if it's FIRE, it might be earlier. You do know that you want to have $500,000 when you retire. I pre-filled this calculator. That's 500,000. Again, that $127, although I think in this case you can't put zero, you have to put something. So let's say they invest 120 to start off with. 20 years old, they still have 47 years to invest. I use a 7% interest rate. You can tailor this to whatever interest rate you have either seen on average in the past or you think you might get in the future. Compounded annually, and there you go. If this individual invested another $125, so okay, I'm off by about $1, $126 every month over 47 years, they will too have $500,000 by retirement age, allowing them to achieve their FIRE number. Let's look at those FIRE numbers again. Now, you might be thinking that 500,000 is going to cover annual expenses of 20,000. Let me be very clear, that's only if you lived off the interest from that 500,000. So you might have Social Security, you might have a home investment, you might have real estate. So you can tailor this to your lifestyle needs. These calculations assume that you're only going to live off your retirement savings, and they use the 4% rule, which I'll link to in the video description to keep this quick. And you can see how it grows from there. If you want to live on 40,000, you would need a FIRE number of 1 million in savings. And that's if you're only going to live off your retirement savings and no other sources of income. Other ways to reduce this is to pay off your home before you go into retirement or before you go into FIRE, pay off your car, pay off your debts. Basically try to minimize your annual expenses, and that's going to drive down your retirement savings or drive down your FIRE number. If you have annual expenses of 100,000, you can see the theme here, 2.5 million. The tools I cited today come from Investor.gov. That's their savings goal calculator and their compound interest calculator. And there's 2 articles you can read for the old school folks who still like to read. Hope you found this information helpful. To quickly review, we discussed your FIRE numbers. The sources I use are Investor.gov and Go Banking Rates. You can find everything you need in the video description below. If you found this information helpful, please hit the like or subscribe button. And if there's any questions that you have, drop them in the comments. I'll respond there, or I'll have another video response. Thank you for watching.